What's up and welcome to the channel. My name is TechShot and thank you for joining us. And today we're going to talk about a topic that we all talk about amongst ourselves when we're around our friends, when we're around other gun people. Which gun is better? And today I'm going to tell you why I think the Smith & Wesson M&P is better than Glock. Now, this is designed to start a conversation because I feel that on our channel, amongst a very toxic place here on YouTube where comments can get very toxic, our channel is not really like that, and a lot of you guys are respectful. Even when we disagree, you're very respectful. I just feel like we have a very strong community here on YouTube, and I think that we can handle this like adults and we can talk about this kind of stuff. And that's really what I want to start here, is a conversation about the M&P and the Glock. We can agree to disagree, but I'm going to make my case for the Smith & Wesson, and I think this should be a lot of fun. Again, if you're going to leave a comment and you disagree, let's just keep it respectful. We are literally talking about inanimate objects, and at the end of the day, if you like the Glock or you like the M&P, as long as you are a law-abiding citizen that's carrying every single day, you like what you like, perfectly fine. Okay? So just to lay that groundwork there, but I want to tell you why I think the Smith & Wesson is better. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about, and probably the least important and the most subjective, is the aesthetics. I just think aesthetically it is a better looking gun than the Glock. Okay, Glocks are very simple. They're very, squared off, blocky looking. And this doesn't really mean a whole lot, but aesthetically, I just think the M&P, with the lines in the barrel, the lines all the way around, I just think it's a better looking gun. Not too much I'm going to say on this because, again, it's a very subjective type of thing. But I think aesthetically it does look better. The next point I'm going to go into are the sights. Metal 3-dot sights with a nice little ledge there, so if you want to do one-handed manipulations, you can do that. They give you metal sights right from the factory, as opposed to Glock, which is going to give you plastic sights. All right, these U-notch, drop in the buckets type of sights, whatever you want to call them. They've been using them for a long time. They do work, but I just think Smith & Wesson giving you a metal set of sights is a better option right out of the box. And before I get to my next point here, I would like to thank our SHOT Team community over on Patreon. If you want to support our efforts and you like what we do here and you want to see more of it, come over to Patreon and check us out over there. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the trigger. And this may surprise some people, but I'm just talking about the M2.0 lineup. They've done a really nice job with this trigger now. All right, so you still have this split hinge design. Pull back. Brakes, reset is now audible. You can hear it. It's got a really nice pull to it, and because of this hinge design, it allows the trigger to flatten out, which aids you in getting more accurate shots. I just think they really make a really nice trigger. All right, so with the Glock, their triggers are decent and they're consistent across pretty much the entire lineup, but it's just a little bit heavier. Stacks up a little bit right before the break. It's got a clickier reset, but that doesn't make it better in my opinion. Okay, I feel like I can be more accurate with this gun. All right, and that leads me into my next point, which aids in accuracy, is the grip angle. So you have this very natural grip angle when you bring this gun up to the ready. It's amazing how the sights are right there, right on target, compared to the Glock. Of course, it is a different type of grip angle, which you can clearly tell right there. But when you put one in your hands, you can shoot the Glock very well. Okay, if you spend enough time and practice, you can do it. But I just think M&P has a more natural grip angle, which allows you to get shots on target a little bit easier and a little bit quicker. Okay, that's just one of those things. Now, before I take you into our last point, why I think the M&P is a better gun, most guns, like let's say Walther or CZ or any of these other manufacturers, haven't been out as long, or making striker fired guns as long, I should say. So the aftermarket support isn't there. Or some people will say, yeah, but the Glocks, they will run. They're almost perfect. They almost never jam, and all this kind of stuff, which is, pretty much true. Except for Smith & Wesson. They've had the M&P line out for a very long time now. Most manufacturers, when they make sights or triggers or anything, they're going to make it not only for Glock, but for the Smith & Wesson M&P. So you have that aftermarket support where you can get pretty much any kind of accessory, any kind of a holster that you want. So really all of that support is there. And more importantly, the longevity is there. You have people like me testing the guns, all kinds of people testing their guns, whether they turn on a camera or not, that bring up the M&P all of the time when it comes to accuracy, when it comes to dependability. Guns are known for being very, very reliable. All right. I don't know, throughout all the M&Ps that we've tested, I may have had one or two issues, but I've had them with Glocks too. I mean, really, it's been less than a handful of times that I've had issues with either one of these guns. So the reliability is definitely there as well. And that's one thing that's kind of helped Smith & Wesson over this entire period of having, you know, their polymer frame striker fire pistols. They've been in the game for a good long while now, and they've been able to dial in the accuracy and reliability to compete with Glock, because obviously that's pretty much the most important thing when it comes to a handgun, especially one that you're going to carry. That leads me into my final point here, which is the features of the gun. I just think they work better. From the magazine release being more responsive, all right, gets those magazines right out of there. The slide serrations, not only do they look better, but just racking the slide, using the functions and features of the gun. The slide stop works as it should. Slide drops as it should. And this is pretty much consistent across all the lineups, except for the smaller shield. You're going to notice with that slide stop, it's not going to be as easy to drop the slide. But, you know, they added the front serrations here, so you can do your press checks. You know, Glock still has not added that, even with their Gen 5, which is what this is. You have to get the FS model to get the slide serrations, you know, and although I've criticized these serrations for being a little bit too small, they still added them. Stainless steel features, armor night finish, the viewport so you can see your brass down in the chamber, reversible magazine release, all of these things. You get 4 back straps with this gun. You get a bunch of back straps with this too, but you get a lot of them with this too. The grip texturing that they've improved with the M2.0 lineup. To me, it equates to a better gun all the way around. And not only all of that, what I just said, most of the time you're going to find these guns anywhere from $75 to $100 cheaper. It's just, to me, it makes better sense. Lifetime warranty through Smith & Wesson compared to a 1 year through Glock. I think Smith & Wesson does it better and cheaper than Glock in 2019. Of course, I want to hear what your opinion is down in the comments below. If you disagree with me totally, or if you agree, make sure you leave us a comment. Thank you all for watching. If you are a power patron or up, look for your special outro coming right after this. Thank you for support. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, hold 'em down.